You've reached the Beards and Sundries podcast, where things get gay, and hilarious. You've made it past seasons 1, 2, and 3. Now, you've reached season 4, the hottest season yet. This season's gonna be the tits. Now, sit down, strap on, in, and get ready to laugh your asses off with your 3 bearded hosts, because they've been waiting all week to get you hot for this show. Now, welcome your hosts, Jay, Anthony, and Joe.
And welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to Season 4, Episode 12 of Beards and Studies. Just kidding.
Wow.
Welcome back to Season 4, Episode 12 of Beards and Sundries. You thought I wasn't going to do it, but I did it.
You know, maybe you know where Kate Middleton is.
Maybe she'll be found by when this episode comes out.
I'm hiding her in my throat so I can have some sort of British accent, but it's garbled because she's suffocating in there.
That's what she's suffocating on, that's for sure. But, you guys, that means it's time for another lunch break here at Beards and Sundries, the shop where 3 gay men with beards do inventory on a new sundry in each episode.
My name is Jay, and I'm going to text you excessively and pretend I'm not crazy. Hey. Hi.
Every day.
Hi. 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 Hello.
That is how Jay texts.
Nuh-uh. I put like a 30 or 40 second break in there.
Skull emoji.
A lot
actually,
of those.
that's the that's how funny Jay finds text. We just have to guess, like, how many skulls funny is this?
There is a skull ranking I should probably keep track of.
Yeah.
I'm Anthony, the screen time notification that you ignore every Sunday.
Ooh, I hate that one.
But I was down 20% last week, so it's not too bad. 29%.
I was up 18%.
We were on vacation or something. I don't know.
And I'm Joe, and I dropped my Nokia 5110 on the sidewalk, and the sidewalk exploded into 1,000,000 pieces. And that means that today's sundry item is cell phones. Beardos, as true millennials, the 3 of us experienced the very beginning of cellular devices and the impact they had on us as they became more popular. Today, we're going to talk about our first phones, our favorite phones, cases, games, and our thoughts on cell phones in the future. Later on, we're going to talk about our experiences learning how to communicate with our phones, but in a spicy way. But before we send too many texts to our BFF Jill, how about this week's lack of a voicemail?
You whores.
Why are you guys so afraid?
Why don't you love us?
Shame.
We're going to make you all walk nude through our house while we ring a bell.
Yeah.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I don't think that's going to get us any voicemails. I think that's exactly what some people want.
Yeah, I thought it would maybe get a whole bunch of voicemails like, hey, give me your address.
No, they're going to be like, we're not going to give you voicemails. Come get me, dirty daddy, with your bell.
Whatever, just give me something to work with here.
I'm not going to hear the bell because my phone's always on silent.
That's my weird kink. I want to shame you in my house while ringing a bell.
That's very on brand for you, Jay.
I don't know why I believe that, but I would believe that. It doesn't sound right, but still. But before we continue, Joe, do you think I can find new faceplates for my Nokia in the sundries aisle?
Yes, you can, Anthony. You can find faceplates, you can find buttons, you can find light-up batteries, phone charms, all the fun things we use to accessorize our phones with. But if you guys are new to the show and you're wondering just what the hell a sundry is, the term comes from an Old English word meaning odds and ends. Now, today it's used mainly in retail as a way to group together items that don't typically have a group of their own. So, as 3 snake-loving gay men with beards, we are using the term to group together the wide range of topics that we cover. And that was a little double entendre for you, beardos. We love Snake the game on the cell phone and snakes of the trouser variety.
That was my That was exactly what I was going to start with. Is my first Nokia phone.
Feeling a little bit like Barbie there. I was detecting an entendre that was double.
Yes, let's dive right in. Was everyone's first cell phone here the Nokia 5110?
I do not know what model, but I definitely know it was a Nokia.
The 5110 is the one that had the little antenna like this. You should know, Jay. It's like this big. That little antenna that's on the top of it.
I remember our first cell phone, like, you still had to pull out the little...
Mm-hmm. Did it have the
thing
flip
on
open
it.
mouth, or was it just like the one brick?
It was a brick, and then you pulled up the little antenna.
So you might have had the Motorola, what is like, StarTAC? No, not StarTAC.
Hold on. Let me tell you, it was Track Phone was my very first one.
Oh.
That was my very first phone.
Same here. And I remember mine was a track phone.
So the very first cell phone that I ever really used was my grandparents had cell phones for running the paintball field. And they were Motorola's, but they were like these weird rhombus shapes, and the little mouth flipped open, and then the dial pads on the inside of it.
Yeah. And it was just that little thin plastic piece that folded down, right?
Yeah, just the small.
Yep.
It was literally just the microphone.
Wasn't that the same phone that Elle Driver uses in Kill Bill, Volume 1?
Ooh, maybe. I have to look.
When she's standing over boop in the hospital, and she gets the call from Bill, and she like slams the antenna down and slams the thing back up.
I just remember how fancy I thought people were with that phone back then when they would just flip that little microphone down and be like, hello. And I'm like, how fancy.
I know.
You're rich.
I thought hers was the one that like slid in and out. Like the microphone slid down and she had to like push it back up. But I don't know. But that was the first cell phone that I actually used because we had it on the paintball field and you'd have to use it to call people to bring stuff out there because otherwise you're in the middle of a horse pasture.
Yeah. And I played a lot of Snake on that.
Oh my God. You couldn't play Snake on that one. But let me tell you, Snake, fucking great. Love that game. What a concept.
Awesome.
I remember playing Snake on that phone too. It had the little tiny green screen, and you had to use the numbers to go left, right, up, and down. And yeah. On my first track phone, because my parents wouldn't get us a cell phone plan because they didn't think it was necessary. It definitely wasn't.
Oh, same.
So I bought my own phone. I bought my own track phone. I had my own phone number. I had my own.
Yep.
Were they called units or minutes or I can't remember. I think they were called units.
I thought
And
we
you
always
had to
bought
buy-
minutes, but I don't
I
remember.
thought we said buying minutes.
Yeah, that's
You had to
what we
buy
said.
a card that had minutes preloaded in the call,
And they were
add them
kind of
to your phone.
expensive.
They were.
Yeah, they were.
And each text message was half of a unit or minute or whatever. So text messaging back then could really add up quick.
Yeah.
Fun industry secret for you guys. Texting piggybacks off of a signal that the cell phone uses to ping the tower anyways. So texting costs companies $0.
Nothing.
And they
Oh,
just
yeah.
charge you for it.
Yep.
Oh, I remember learning that in cell phone and being like, what the fuck? I
When
remember
I learned
paying...
about it, I was like, what the fuck? We charge people for this and it's free?
I paid so much extra money to have unlimited texting whenever I was 17 and got my own plan out of my parents because they would not get me texting.
Capitalism breeds innovation. Ooh.
Surprise.
Well, I remember also going to the mall and going to the cell phone stand. Now, you guys probably know those kiosks at the mall right now that have like all those different, smartphone cases and everything and little trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a stand just like those stands now, but it was like all of these different models because there were so many different models of phones back then. They all had their different phones and they all had these different cases that fit just that phone. And you could just go cross-eyed staring at all the different kinds of cases they had. And then these older phones even had different buttons that you could like take out of the phone itself and change the color of the buttons, and then get like sparkly ones. You could get like little charms to hang on the back and little light up batteries. I remember my second phone was also a track phone before we finally got a plan, and it was a Motorola V60i, and it was a little flip phone. And I thought it was so cool because it had falling numbers, and I could like shut my phone to like end a phone call all sassy, and it had a light up battery in the back, and I thought it was cool. I was not cool.
I never, ever, ever got involved with those like center aisles for phone stuff. I never went to the mall till I was later, and by then I already had flip phones, and I didn't like how bulky it made them, so I just never did it.
So I didn't really get into phone customization as much.
Yeah.
Because the phone was never mine up until basically I started working in cellular. Like, that's when I had phones that were really mine, that weren't on somebody else's plan, that I could actually, like, do stuff to. And my very first phone, whenever I was working in cellular, was a Nokia 6255i. And that phone was the fucking tits.
Oh, yeah. I remember that phone. I had a couple friends that had that phone.
Fun phone. It was so cool because it had the little outside display, so you get all your information on the outside without having to
And it was
open
color.
And it was flip. Yeah. And inside color screen, it had an MMC memory card, so you could actually like expand your storage, which was a big deal at the time. Oh.
I remember when we finally got a family cell phone plan when I was a junior in high school, because I'd started driving. So my parents were like, maybe we should get on this thing, whatever. And we got on with Sprint, and they both got Blackberries, which I thought was kind of interesting because they had to have a data plan with them. And they would ask me all the time, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I was like, I don't know. I don't have a Blackberry. Don't ask me. And my first cell phone on that plan was a Samsung MMA 700. And it was similar to Anthony's Nokia phone we just talked about. But it was a Samsung flip phone. It had a color screen on the inside and outside display, and a little camera lens on the inside that would flip in and out, so you could effectively take, like, what was essentially the first selfie with a little cell phone. And it was cool. I liked that phone a lot. It would light up when it rang, and it had little fun songs that you could just listen to the ringtones. And that was the first phone that I really started texting with, because we finally had texting on our plan.
So I did texting with my Nokia, but it was really basic because it was like, T9 text. So you really,
Yep.
You don't want to go nuts for donuts with it.
Oh, we got real good at it though.
I didn't ever really like using text speak. And so I think that was one thing that I just didn't text as much at first because I didn't like text speak. But then my next phone that I had after that was a BlackBerry. So I texted a lot with that.
I definitely didn't like text speak, but I love the T9 setup for texting because, like, I could fly through a text and just have it do it for me. And I was probably the safest texter driver ever because I never had to look at my phone.
Oh, see, now that's my favorite thing about modern phones is being able to, like, speak what I want to text and it sends it while I'm driving, so I don't have to, like...
Fucking Siri, though. She's either good or terrible.
Or she sucks.
Because you guys have seen the shit I've sent, and I'm like, I think she said that right. And I'm like, go ahead and send it. And then I look back at it, I'm like, the fuck?
Luckily, it will say sent with Siri, so I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm a little bit protected, but Jesus. Or there was the time that I was texting one of my friends and I, in the middle of it, bitched about traffic. And then it just happened to work out at an exact time that Siri was like, do you want to send this? And I was like, yes, thank you, yelling at traffic. And so it sent, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah.
Get out of the left lane. I'll be there soon. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
In downtown Oklahoma City, when you're leaving downtown to get on the highway, everyone thinks this one turn lane, you have to stop. And I'm like, no, just go. And so then I was like screaming at them to go, and Siri recorded it all for me and sent it.
Thanks, Siri.
And then I just laughed because we're getting on. She goes, okay, your message was sent. And I was like, wait. And I pulled it up and I just laughed. So.
Well, one thing I want to talk about basic phones still was when I got to college, our family switched to AT&T. I had convinced them. And I got my... basically, it was like my best technologically advanced phone that wasn't a smartphone. And this was it had a Windows operating system. It was like basically the closest thing to a smartphone without needing internet.
Oh my
But
gosh,
this was
yeah.
called the Pantech Duo. And this phone was so fucking cool. It's still in like my top 5 favorite phones. This phone had a very large front screen, and it was kind of like a brick. But then it would slide upwards to reveal the numbers if you needed them, or you could put it back down and slide it sideways, and it would reveal a full keyboard for texting. So
Yes.
it was really cool because you could like, if you were like a fidgety kind of person, like I used to be back then, you could like just kind of play with your phone, slide it back and forth. And it was very tactile. It was very fun. The buttons made little clicky noises. It was just great. It had all these games. I never had to delete any text messages, which was like a new thing for me because like the Windows operating system on this phone was so like advanced for the time. And I didn't have to delete any kind of text threads. I had all kinds of storage on that phone, and I had it all through college.
Yeah, once I got my hands on a full keyboard, I was a texting fiend. I loved doing it.
I was so bad at the full keyboard with the tiny keys.
I was good. I got really good at it. I mean, it took a while of using it, but I got really good at it.
It depends on like what kind of phone it was, because there were phones that were so tiny, but they'd have full keyboards, and you'd have to like, I mean, they were just not designed for adult hands.
I had the LG Rumor as my second phone with the flip-up keyboard, and my phone was orange, and I felt so fancy, and I hated that keyboard.
Those phones were cool, though.
Some of those early LG phones were super cool. Like, they were so technologically advanced. Like, they had, like, little touch screens that would change, keyboards that would... I remember there was that one, Anthony, that would flip up and there would be numbers, and you'd flip it closed and flip it sideways, and then it would change into a keyboard, because it had that, like, little LCD changing keyboard.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a cool phone, too.
Yeah, they had some...
Or the LG Chocolate.
Oh, my
I can't find my first phone, but my first phone... my first phone... I consider this barrier where I think it was when I turned 17, I got my very first plan by myself where I was in control of everything. So that's like my first real phone. And it was an LG of some sort with an MP3 player, but I cannot remember what it was called. But I was with Alltel. So that was my excitement back then.
Which is how Jay and I met.
Oh my God. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Back in Stillwater?
Yep.
Well, that's how we like.
It's because they converted to Verizon, but he was on Alltel, and so when they converted, like I worked for Alltel and also got converted to Verizon.
That's how we officially met after our initial meeting of me really fucking hating you because my boyfriend thought you were hot.
Met and became friends, and not met, and you just fucking gave me the death stare the whole time.
That was our re-meet. You know, second chances.
Yeah, we met when you were a little less insecure.
I just remember you being like, Jay, and I was like, Anthony? I just was like, what's going on?
It's still a mystery how we decided to like hang out after that.
I'm still to this day like, what happened?
I cannot figure it out. I don't know. Oh, but speaking of my 6255i, I'm going to share my screen with you guys for a second because I need you to see this picture that we took, because 3 of us in our friend group at the time had this phone. So we were at a party.
You got a picture from that phone?
No, of that phone from somebody else's phone, because we had 3 of us had it. And so here you will see the Nokia 6255i orgy that we...
It's phone sex.
Technically, it's a threesome. But there's also Nokia at the end there.
That's a 3310.
Phone sex meant so much different back then.
Yep.
Yeah. They really know how to press your buttons. Well, speaking of Nokia, bringing it back to Nokia had some really out there designs, I remember. Wasn't there? There was a phone that had like a circular keyboard. There was one that looked like a fucking lipstick container. It had like the buttons on the side. There was also one that I randomly bought on eBay a few years after college just because I thought it would be cool to have as like a little collector item. And it's the Nokia 7600. This was the one that looked like a square, and it had the screen in the very middle, and then it had the buttons down the sides of the screen. It was a really weird design, and I never really used it as a phone. I just like had it just for fun.
Remember the Nokia N-Gage?
I remember the Nokia N-Gage. I had a friend that had it. I never had it, but he didn't like it very much.
My friend Bob had it, and he got super bitter because he had to like, he was with AT&T, the original actual factual AT&T, when they got acquired by Singular, and they had to do like a forced handset conversion, so he had to give it up, and he was not okay.
Whatever LG phone that I got as my first main phone back in the day, I remember specifically getting it because I hated how everyone had a Razr. And I was like, I don't want to fit in with everyone else. And so I was determined not to get the Razr.
The Razor.
Oh boy,
should
we'd
talk
be
about
remiss
that
if we
for a
didn't talk
minute,
about the Razor.
because holy
Motorola.
shit.
Motorola really changed the game with that phone. It was iconic.
And honestly, looking back, it was a pretty fucking cool phone.
It was
Really,
cool.
it
It was
was.
just the concept of the phone floored me when it came out, because they're like, it's all aluminum. And I was like, you put a cell phone chip inside of an aluminum casing. Why?
Yeah.
I found it. The LG Wave AX380. That was my very
That
first
sounds
flip
familiar.
phone.
It had the little buttons on the front.
Oh,
They're not
yeah.
like buttons. It was like a touchscreen thing.
I never ever touched it. I never knew how to use the LG or the MP3 player on it, but I thought I was cool as shit.
Not as cool as the Razor.
That's true.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't.
What a fucking design choice, though. I mean, it really was a cool looking phone.
Yeah.
And people went out of their way to switch carriers to get it.
It was
Yeah.
expensive too, even for back then.
Yeah,
Wasn't it like $300?
I think it was.
Oh my god. I remember thinking a $300 phone was insane. Who would spend that much just for a phone? Now every year I'm like, $1,500 fucking dollars for this Pro Max every year?
I guess so.
Not every year. Not anymore.
Not every year. Every 2 years.
If that.
God damn.
I was going to say, I like my 15 Pro. I'm just going to probably hang on to that until it explodes, or until Apple gets me with all that, planned obsolescence that they give us.
I heard something about Apple working on adding Google something AI into this next round.
Great.
Why not have
They
Siri?
keep they're copying Google enough. They might as well just go the whole 9 yards, right?
Why not?
Okay, so moving on a little bit later in life, when did you guys get your first smartphone?
My first smartphone was my second phone whenever I was working for Alltel, and it was a BlackBerry. And it was the BlackBerry. It's not the 8130. I cannot remember the model. It was a 7000 series of some sort, because I remember distinctly, because that series of BlackBerries, all of your controls were the wheel on a side. So you scrolled through your apps.
Oh
with the
yeah,
wheel, and
it
then
was
you
before
click
they
the
had the
wheel
little
to
bit.
select it. Yep.
It was before they had the little scroll ball.
The trackball, before they
Yeah,
had the
the
trackball,
trackball.
before they had the trackpad, before they had like directional, it was just this little wheel, and
Yep.
that's how you navigate everything. It was kind of tedious, but
I remember those Blackberries. My first smartphone was right out of college. I went through all of college with a basic phone. And then when I first moved to Stillwater, Oklahoma after college, I bought my friend's used iPhone 3G for $50. And that was in 2010, so the 3G had already been out. The 3GS was already out. So the 3G was already running kind of a little bit slow, but it was still like, cool, I have my first iPhone, I have a smartphone, because I now had my own plan. I had gone through all of college on my parents' family cell phone plan, and now I had my own cell phone plan. So that was my first smartphone on my own.
I think '09. Yes, '09 is when the first Motorola Droid, the Android, came out.
Oh yeah.
And
I remember those commercials. Droid.
Droid. And I thought I was so cool because I took my tax return, went and bought that phone. I literally had no money to do that with, but I had to buy it. And I remember going in being like, I'm going to buy this Droid. And they're like, okay, so you're 2 months behind on your cell phone bill. In order to get this Droid, you have to catch it up. And I was like, sure. Because I just got my tax return and I was, rich.
Right.
Yep. So I bought that Droid, and I did Android till about 2012. And I had to warranty those fuckers like every 6 months because they would start dying on me.
I'll tell you, the Motorola Droid, I had that phone because it was the first, because you had smartphones that were Blackberries and things like that were out, but that Motorola Droid, that thing was a fucking trooper. I was a big fucking nerd when those came out, and so I was doing I was rooting my phone, I was putting in my own custom APKs, I was doing the whole fucking thing. And that phone, if I broke it too much messing with it, I could always get it to reset to factory standards and then start over. It would always work.
Yeah.
That thing was awesome. And then subsequent droids that I had were not as awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I guess my first droid did better than the rest of them because I remember getting to a nicer droid, well, a newer droid another time, and I was so excited for it. And every 6 months, I had to warranty it constantly because the screen would just randomly die, and I didn't drop it. I always had cases on them.
Oh, you remember you turned that first one on and it would go, droid.
Mm-hmm. I can still hear it.
I know. Oh, man. What a cool fucking phone.
But it was so cool to see that screen light up with that red droid emblem. And
I know. And
wow.
just, it was so different because it was very much like one of the first touchscreens that I ever had that felt like it worked well. It actually recognized your finger. You could actually fully get on the internet, and it made sense as the internet. It wasn't like looked
that
like
shitty internet version.
Yes. And when you downloaded games, you could fucking play games, and they were cool games.
You started using apps like Facebook and all, and it just felt real. And it was just, God, it was so cool. What a time that we lived through to witness that new age of that. And now, I look at my phone and I take it for granted.
I have the computing power of my computer I had at the time that I had that cell phone in my hand. Currently.
I have more power than the first spaceships did. and I
use it to look at penises on the internet.
Yeah. Penis.
And if it doesn't react immediately to what I'm doing, I'm like, God damn it, why can't the signal going up to space and back not be faster?
I'm just like, God damn it, this fucking piece of shit. And I'm like, oh wait, it's a tiny little miracle I have in my pocket, but still it's a piece of shit.
Speaking of piece of shit. So going along back to my first smartphone experience in Stillwater, had this iPhone, it was fine, and then the guy I was with that I moved to Oklahoma for, we decided to get our own cell phone plan together, which meant that we had to get a new phone number, so then I had to ditch my 304 area code from West Virginia, which made me sad because I liked that number. But we both got 918 area code numbers because he was from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, which is just north of us. So we both got 918 area codes. We both got brand new phones on our new AT&T plan. And I got my first Android, which was an HTC Inspire 4G, which was a huge deal at the time because 4G had just come out. So it's like, ooh, cutting edge, new phone. And it was a great phone, very quick, responsive for about 8 months. And then it took a huge shit. And that was my problem with Android phones at the time because you would update their software or they would go for too long without power cycling and they would just crap out and they would go slow and they wouldn't be responsive anymore. So it was super frustrating.
There was that era with smartphones where you really had to remember maybe every week at least to turn your phone off and turn it back on or else it couldn't stand it.
So then after that first Android that I ended up hating, I switched over to my own cell phone plan after I broke up with the boy that I moved to Oklahoma for because it turned out he wasn't the love of my life. But then I got my own cell phone plan again, and I decided to go in a different direction, and I got an iPhone 4S. And this was along the time that I started working for AT&T. I worked for a third-party retailer, which I ended up hating that job. But I actually learned a lot about cell phones working there. I learned a lot about Androids and operating systems and different models of phones, and I ended up going back and forth for a while between iPhone, Android, iPhone, Android, iPhone, Android, and then this was around the time that I met Anthony and we started dating, and then after a little while, I decided to get on his plan, and he was working for Verizon at the time, and so he got me one of the employee edition phones. It was a Droid Razr Max, and that was easily one of the coolest Android phones I ever had. I love that phone.
And it was red, and that was the employee edition. Like, you couldn't get a red version anywhere else.
Yeah.
And you had to be an employee to get it.
Wow, you're fancy.
I know.
I remember it was running Android Ice Cream Sandwich, and it was like super cutting edge at the time.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they named him after desserts.
So then after I had the Droid Razr Max for a little while, I ended up getting this phone that was so ridiculous, and it was called the LG Intuition. And it was shaped like this. It was like a square. And I actually have it right here next to me, and this is what it looks like. And
God.
for comparison, Here is an old iPhone 4S next to it. So this phone was gigantic. It might even have enough juice in it. Let's see if it'll power on.
I remember when I had my 4S, and then I think I got the 6 Pro Max or whatever it was, and it was just like putting a brick next to a Lego.
Yep.
I think I have a picture stashed somewhere of the difference.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It still powers on. I can't believe it. 4G LTE.
I don't save any of my phones. I've just been trading them in for years now.
We have been in recent years, but for a while we were just keeping the old ones.
I mean, I guess for years I didn't. I don't know. I do have a Droid somewhere.
I had this phone back in 2012, and that was when we first got Ricky, our corgi.
Mm-hmm.
And this phone had the first captured video of him on our first walk with him when he was just a little potato.
He was so cute.
Yep, there she is. The
And
LG Intuition.
He was walking, and he did his first little bark that he ever did.
But yeah, this thing, oh my god, I loved it for a while. And I had a case on it for a while, and it was so awkward to put in your pocket because it was so wide. But I thought it was so kitschy and so cool and unique, and I loved it when I had it.
I like how phones got like, they were like, let's make them small. Now let's make them big again. Now let's make them really big again. Now let's make them small again. And like, we as a society cannot decide on the perfect phone size.
I do remember that era in like the mid to later 2000s where it's like smaller, smaller, smaller. And everyone's like, look how tiny it is. And then all of a sudden now it's like, bigger.
I love the Futurama throwaway gag that they gave Amy, like the super tiny cell phone that has a massive dock to charge on. Mm-hmm. So she would like answer it and she'd go, hello.
And I remember, I think I was 18 and I got my first Bluetooth headset.
Oh, yeah.
So I could drive and feel safe.
Yeah.
And I felt so fancy with that, but it picked up every sound around me because I, drove a Cavalier. And so the road noise was atrocious. And I'd be talking to Grandma and she'd be like, I can't hear you.
Did it look like your headphones that you sported that one episode?
Almost. Just one way sticking out over here.
Lord.
I do remember getting in trouble once. Here I am, 19, I think, getting in trouble, or 20, because I put it in my pocket, and I was down here in Oklahoma, and my ex and I were at his parents' house in their hot tub, and somehow, I guess the button kept getting hit on my pants that were literally just sitting outside. We it was all of us, so it's not like we were doing anything in the hot tub.
Yeah,
but
you were.
No. But, however, the button kept getting hit and it kept redialing the last number. And so at like 1 a.m, it kept calling my parents and she could just hear us laughing and all talking loudly in the hot tub.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Scandaloso.
Thank God I wasn't doing anything dirty. I wasn't like, yeah, sex is fun. Gay sex.
Gay sex. Penis in the butt.
Butt hole now.
It's not this episode topic, and we won't linger on it that much, but like sex in a hot tub is just okay. The idea of sex in a hot tub is fun.
You're really not supposed to.
I was like, sex in water, pools, hot tubs. It sounds like a grand
There's so
idea.
much friction.
Somehow, something that makes everything really wet makes you very unable to slide and create friction.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the chemicals.
Which
anyways, that's not this episode subject.
Speaking of sex, should we go to break and move on to our next topic?
Yeah, let's go to break.
This would be a lot of fun.
Okay, so we're going to go to break real quick, and afterwards we're going to talk about Anthony and having phone sex.
You're listening to Jay, Anthony, and Joe on the Beards and Sundries podcast, the podcast rated 5 out of 6 balls.
Anthony, what phone do you have up your ass right now?
The LG Intuition, sideways. Take a deep breath.
That's why he knows the 4x3. He's like, it feels weird, but...
It's 4x3, but we don't know which way.
Oh my God. I was not expecting that.
I know
It
you
just
weren't.
felt so right. Anthony
Lord.
has tested every one of his cell phones over the years up his ass.
Beardos, text me real quick.
He gets really shitty reception. He responds to Jay's text messages, and Jay says, "Huh, what a shitty response."
Skull emoji, skull emoji, skull emoji.
It's like, ooh, this was really fun. It was 4 skull emojis.
What's that dead thing in your ass? Oh, it's Jay's texts.
Every time. Speaking of spicy texts, remember, we've talked about it before a little bit, but, you know, the early days of Grindr on our phones.
Oh my God. So I will never forget like early days of being able to like send picture messages and
Yeah.
how that worked. Oh my God. And change the game for sexting because 1, it didn't exist before, but 2,
Oh, God. That just reminded me. I had a flashback to when I did work at a cell phone company and I had to warranty out someone's phone. And I was just making sure that everything transferred over.
Yes.
And I opened her pictures, and the very first photo album was all of her tit and snatch pics. And I remember opening it and immediately felt my face get flushed. I was like, looks like everything's there. There you go.
Beardos, if you ever wondered if the people at the cell phone store, when they transferred your stuff back in the day when they still did that,
The old-fashioned way.
if they were looking at it, the answer is no. We didn't want to. We hated it. There's like some curiosity every now and again, but like this guy came in once and he was there with his wife or girlfriend or whatever she was, and he hands me his phone about like that he's having issues with, and I hit the power button to look at it, and the lock screen is just his naked fucking wife who's standing in front of me. And he's like, "Isn't she hot?" And I was like,
His lock screen?
yeah, I was like, what the fuck do I do with that? I one, I don't know. I'm gay. 2, what the
I literally don't know.
What is hot in this form? I'm confused.
it was just such a weird thing.
I'm going to be really honest. Besides, like, randomly, which I wasn't, like, obsessive about sending pics. I loved receiving them, though. But my sexting skill is subpar. I do not know how to do it well. Like,
I believe it.
my brain just immediately wants to be humorous. And I'm like, oh, I like what you're, like, texting me. And they're like, what do you want to do to me? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll go turn on the shower and hope you want to shower. Yeah. Like, I'm so bad at it. You want to...
Yeah, let me see those gams. The ham.
Yes, precisely. I'm like, you want to get dirty? Like maybe a little bit of dust on the credenza dirty? I mean,
Not the credenza.
I don't understand how I'm incapable of dirty talk.
I'm bad about being decent at sexting and then like getting to the real life thing and being like, okay, well, we did the main stuff, so like now we're done.
Yep. If you're imagining sex with me, I need you just to like make me a lot cooler than I really am. Thank you.
I, on the other hand, I like doing it, and I like to think that I'm kind of creative. I also have read a lot of smut novels, so I can like kind of get creative with like how I'm setting the stage and all that stuff. But I also think it's funny to think like sometimes when I'm doing it, I'm like grocery shopping or like
all the time.
standing in line somewhere or like just doing some mundane task, and I'm just like,
Like, you're measuring a few onions, and you're like, I'm going to thrust my dick into you so hard that you just don't know what, you're like screaming. And I'm just like, 3 pounds. I think I only need 2, and then take one out. Yeah, fuck, bitch. Fuck you.
I will literally just be out and about, like, shopping and doing that, and I don't know why, but I'll just forget because I'm casually sexting while I'm also picking out what cheeses I need. And then I'll just like, oh, look, I got another message. Let me open it. And it's just like, penis. And I'm like, oh, right, I'm in public. Boop.
He's like, yeah, you want to see this monster I have in my pants? Don't you for cheddar about that.
You're standing
it's
in
all
the soup
American.
aisle.
Yum, yum, yum.
You're buying all the ingredients for soup, and you're just like, now what is this? Oh my god, is
Is it
that a dick?
fungus?
Is that
Is that a penis or is that a fungus? Oh, it's a handsome young fella.
is this boy doing the spread eagle? That's pretty nice there, young man. Look at you. You look flexible.
Oh, I used to shop at American Eagle. Oh.
I feel like I want to read some of our sex off, but I you know what? That feels like premium content.
Yeah, and no one gets that for free, except the people I'm sending it to.
You gotta pay for us to talk dirty.
It's dirty. It's smut. I just read a couple. I was like, whoa, I say that.
Oh, and then sometimes I'll like kind of get a little too into the illusion, and I'll say something like I might not have done before, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I send it. I'm like, okay, that was kind of cool. I don't know who's that. I don't know who that is.
That's so weird. I've never done water sports, but suddenly now it's turned into a water sports story.
Funny enough, because this is something I found out a few years ago about myself. When having sex with someone, is they put my hand around their throat, like grab my wrist and put my hand around their throat, and I was like, oh, okay.
A lot of people like that.
New thing about me is
Core memory unlocked.
He like barely gets his hand on there, and he's like, done. Wow. So that's the key.
that's
Threatening
pretty
to
cool.
kill you.
It wasn't like that. That would probably stress me out. It was like the light pressure, but I was just still, oh my God.
Your
Anyways.
life is literally in my hand, and now I'm done.
It's like this great meme I saw one time, and it was like when he starts to choke you during sex, and then you hear him mutter under his breath, "I've been having enough of your shit for too long." And the picture was like someone with like their eyes like this. And they're like, oh no!
I should clarify, this isn't like that one Halloween horror story we had during the first round where they literally passed out during the sex. It was
Yeah.
not
He was
that level.
No one to release your grip.
But he was with a military medical person, so he was fine.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, you bet. I woke back up and I was like, why'd you stop? And I'm like, oh my God, I have anxiety thinking of that.
Oh my
To this day.
Yeah. I actually had forgotten it until I started telling the story. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was the whole thing on here. A whole thing.
Yeah. I wasn't good at sexting at all, but I was really good at crazy texts. I definitely used to be that clingy crazy text one where, oh God, it's embarrassing to think about, but if you didn't respond fast enough, I was worried.
It was a bad time. I had those like really desperate, like, why is he ignoring me? Why isn't he responding? He doesn't like me. Oh no.
I drove off some potentially great people by being crazy.
We all go through it. It's that
Yep.
real great insecurity of being young.
Well, especially
gay.
being young and gay and growing up, especially for Anthony and me, growing up in
Hyper
a
religious
conservative
households.
area, yeah, where, you know, and I also didn't have parents that were emotional with me, that they weren't emotionally like intelligent people really, and so they were neglectful in that sense of emotion, and so like I needed so much reassurance. I mean, even today I do, but today I'm substantially better, and I'm still improving. Like, I have to remind myself, I'm like, not everybody that doesn't text you daily doesn't forget you exist.
So there is this sort of like hypothetical thing that in psychology called a highly sensitive person. And it's a theory that about 20% of the population are highly sensitive because of the way they were brought up. And that's the people who you would consider like empaths. But what it is you were raised in an environment where you had to be like honed in on very subtle changes because you had to like, you were trying to avoid conflict. You're trying to avoid the ire of your parents. You're trying to like manage the household. And so you are honed in on people's actions, emotions, feelings to the degree that you can sense really slight changes in things because that's how you grew up. Your body's used to watching for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those same people are also the desperate texters because you're like, whoa, no. Oh, no. What the fuck? They're not responding. That's bad. That's bad. Everything's bad. Everything's broken. I've got to do something.
And I'm glad that over the years I've really, really fixed a lot of that. I'm far from perfect, but I absolutely had that. I was very sensitive and needed constant reassurance because if there was a change, I noticed it. I still notice it today. It's just now I'm like, okay, you have to remember that not everybody's going to be the exact same all the time. And just because they have a mood change doesn't mean that suddenly they're tired of you or dislike you.
I still have issues with it whenever I'll message someone and then like not get a message back for a little bit. And I'm so much better about it now where I'm like, people are just fucking busy, man. And they have their own lives and like, they're not required. Just because I talk to someone or message someone doesn't mean they are obligated to talk back to me.
Oh, yeah. And nowadays I'm completely just like, you respond at whatever time works for you. But it is embarrassing to think back how bad I was. And it wasn't even that long ago. I just had so much fear that I was going to be forgotten.
Yep. I get it. I understand.
Well, who could forget about you, Jay?
Who's that?
I don't know. It seems like a lot of people. Oh, God, text me back.
But it seems like everyone forgot about us this week because nobody left a fucking voicemail.
Oh, God. What's wrong with all of you?
Yeah, so instead of talking more about phone sex and sexting, we're going to go to commercial.
And now, for a word from our sponsor, Desperate Cologne.
That boy you met at the bar the other day. The one you hooked up with. He won't leave you alone now. You knew something seemed wrong when he brought an overnight bag, even though you brought him straight home from the bar. And when you were done, he talked about finding a husband, and you fit the match. But you couldn't resist that smell of... No, more like hopeless, distressed, discouraged. Okay, desperate. I hooked up with someone desperate. And now he won't leave me alone. I just couldn't resist that scent. It was so strong. I don't think I can ever go back to anything else but...
So head on down to the Beards and Sundries Market for your bottle of Desperate Cologne from the makers of Gay by Bior.
Hey guys, make sure you follow and subscribe to our podcast so you can receive a notification every Sunday when a new episode drops.
Well, I know when I'm feeling desperate, I just give myself a spritz of Desperate Cologne.
It's nice I don't have to buy it. It's just my natural scent.
I spritz myself with other things, and then to cover that up, I spritz myself with desperation.
I met the guy who owns Bior, and he was like, wow, you smell desperate. I want to bottle that and profit from it. And I was like, smell me.
And Beardos, when he met him, he already had an overnight bag with him.
And it's only half full.
He brought a toothbrush and his own brand of toothpaste.
No, I was about to say there's no toothbrush. I only brought like deodorant and underwear.
Oh my god.
Well, Jay, speaking of desperation, do we have any Beardo submitted sundries this week?
Oh my God, so many desperate people, and I'm so happy for that.
Thank God.
Well, I wish you'd leave us a voicemail.
Not desperate enough.
Yeah, come on.
And just before we started recording, we got a message from
George and Anthony.
And Joe, they wanted me to tell you happy belated birthday.
Aw, thank you very much, boys.
And then we've gotten several messages regarding our pancakes versus waffle discussion. First one I'll start with is Ethan on TikTok said, I go with the third option of French toast. And I've never even thought about that.
Smart.
Which,
Ethan's right.
Speaking of, Cafe Cacao here in Oklahoma City, one of the top-ranked restaurants in the United States. The one that's in the old Wendy's.
Hearing about it.
In the old Wendy's. You really set the scene when you say that.
Did you know that Cafe Cacao is in Oklahoma City? It's one of the top-rated restaurants in the world, in the entire galaxy.
Yeah, well, have you tried the most amazing French toast from anywhere else? No, you haven't. It's still here. I don't know what they do to it, but it's delicious.
They top it with beef chili.
Well, maybe you should come down here again, and maybe I'll try and get us in. Fuck you. Moving on. To Eric on TikTok said, pancakes are fine, but they have to be fresh, not the frozen ones. And I didn't even think of that. I hate the frozen ones.
I didn't realize frozen pancakes were a thing. I've always made fresh pancakes.
Yeah, you can buy
they are.
pancakes frozen, and they're just
like waffles.
Oh, well.
And I'll still eat a frozen waffle.
I was going to say I'll eat an Eggo.
Yeah.
Let go of my Eggo.
Yeah, you can have it. I'm not going to fight you for it.
And then my last comment regarding that was, it's at Mr. Private Stock on TikTok, and he said, I'm telling you, substitute either a third or half of the water in your pancake mix with cottage cheese, and it'll change your pancake for life. It sounds gross, but it's great. I promise.
I mean, I've been seeing cottage cheese incorporated into a lot more recipes lately, so I'd be willing to give it a shot.
A lot of people use it for lasagna.
When he said, I always did it in lasagna, and when he said that, all I could think of is really?
No, don't do that. Use
Why
ricotta.
not?
Grow up.
It's for cottage
get the
cheese.
right cheese.
Yeah. Ricotta cheese is delicious.
No,
How can you say
not
that
the
as a
same.
cottage whore?
Because I like eating cottage cheese with just pepper.
Oh, it's delicious.
I know.
But when he said that, I thought of sour cream and baked goods, and it sounds weird, but in my head, I'm just I know it's going to be the most delicious dessert, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
so I
that's
assume
true.
it's great. Anyways, so that's it on the pancake situation. My friend Shanae texted me and said, no more games on the podcast without buzzers. It makes it so funny. But I love you all anyways. And she's very offended that nobody likes pancakes.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
You know
I'm
what?
buzzing in to say that I'm not sorry.
I might change my mind if you fucking win that Wisconsin battle. You win it, I will eat pancakes on camera.
Here's that buzzy you like so much. Unexpected pancake in the pancake area.
Unexpected pancake on the savory plate.
I gotta go ship pancakes before I ship my pancake.
Oh, God. Oh, do you guys remember Ray, our new listener that was...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Of
starting
course.
back. He's caught up.
Wow.
Really? Damn.
Welcome to
that was fast.
modern times, Ray.
It got better, didn't it? Not much, but, little.
If you
It
say
got-
no, then I quit.
Say no.
I'm really busy. You'd be doing me a favor. Oh, man. And lastly, we heard from Bryce, our Gen Z listener. We're so happy you're our Gen
yeah.
Z supporter.
Oh, he's
And
going to love this episode. He's going to be like, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
What are phones? that are
Nokia.
Smartphones.
What the hell's a razor?
What's an antenna?
You guys are not giving them enough credit.
I know. I sound like a fucking old fart right now.
yeah,
Sorry.
you do.
Sorry,
you both
Bryce.
sound old as hell.
Yeah, we love you, Bryce.
Sorry, Bryce.
Jesus Christ. Bryce, I'm sorry for real this time. Keep listening. I promise. We won't do this every time.
You know, Bryce, when I answer a phone, I use my thumb and my pinky to act like a receiver. Do you know what that's like? Bryce,
Thank you, Bryce.
says, Good morning, guys, or whatever time you're reading this. We actually got it pretty early this morning. I have been listening to you guys for quite a while. I think I was 19 when I started listening. Let's be honest here. Who hasn't found Anthony's spicy Twitter and, the other website? Hello, Daddy.
That would be the first time somebody called me daddy.
It's like a baby birch tree on fire, isn't it?
Oh, man.
We're not leaving the link in the show notes, but you guys can interact amongst yourselves and figure
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, start up your own little group chat. And he continued on saying Jay's little quip on the eggs, been a dick, wasn't too bad. I did let out a small chuckle. And I would definitely take you guys up on going to a protest. And yes, we are definitely doing Molotov cocktails. But if you were trying to kidnap me, you really wouldn't have to try. If it were you three, I would happily get into whatever tinted out van you have or a Toyota Highlander. Poppers, anyone?
It would be the Toyota Highlander. We're not renting a van for this.
They have extra Riz just for Joe. Hey, and my Highlander's tinted windows, so it's cozy, don't you worry.
Yeah. And you can tell that it's Jay because he's driving 100 miles an hour and texting at the same time.
And banging his head on the sun visor.
Well, now I have a Mustang, so I'm also doing it in that. And anyways, he finishes with, much love, Bryce. To add to my last email, does anyone even use Twitter for anything other than porn?
I don't know. Like I will say I did today for all the Big Dipper drama because I was here for it, but also because those two things intersect. Like a bunch of the spicy creators that I follow are
a lot of
also,
spicy creators are also poking in little Big Dippers.
So they follow Big Dipper as well, and so like the drama has been like, I'm like, usually I see your penis, but today I'm seeing you post actual things.
Hey now, your drama's spilling into my sexual appetite.
No, I found myself looking for it today. I was like, what's everybody saying about this?
This is weird. I'm turned off. I'm gonna look for the real news today.
Yeah, we won't go
Boner
too far
save
into
for
the Big
later.
Dipper thing, but if you guys know who Big Dipper is, he's having a big drama day today.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer his question, no. Unless you're a conservative that doesn't have an education, then you use Twitter for other things.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yep, you're right. Well, thank you, Bryce. See, fucking Beardos, get on the Bryce level. And this, we're excluding George and Anthony. They've done the work. They've done the groundwork. Derek's the same way.
Aaron, you're safe.
Obviously, you're safe.
Jorge safe.
Jorge.
Yes.
Yep. John, never safe.
Oh, there's a lot of people that keep up well, but more of you. We want you to find Anthony's spicy Twitter and then email us about it. Maybe leave a voicemail about it.
Yeah, actually, I'd be interested to hear what you have to say.
My favorite video is when you pulled that phone out of your ass.
I filmed that tonight during the commercial break. I couldn't leave it up there the rest of the episode.
I just thought of your post. Your next one's going to have a phone and then you're going to be like, call me.
Oh my God. It should just be a fucking X-ray with like the phone up there. That's the ad for this week's episode.
I'm gonna make that post just for the podcast page.
Oh my God. Thank you, Bryce. We appreciate you. Keep listening, even with how old we sound when we reference Gen Z. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You guys.
Well, thanks everyone. That was a good round of user content this week for sure.
Yes, it was. Thank you for outing my spicy Twitter account.
Good for you.
Well,
Real quick, just before we move on to something to check out, I want to give a big shout out to our beardo, Tim, from right here in Oklahoma. He's currently on the Carnival Dream. He's doing a cruise this week. And
Lucky.
Tim, we are so jealous. You're literally living the dream.
Seriously, I saw a couple of the pictures and I was like, oh my God, I wish I was on a cruise.
I hope you've had a wonderful time this past week on the boat, and I hope that you took a lot of pictures and you had a lot of fun. But moving on, does anyone have something to check out this week?
I do. This week, I actually, since we are doing a phone-related episode, I have an app that I think it would be fun for people to check out, and it is called Grinder. Oh, just kidding. No, it is an app called Balance, and it is an app that Jay introduced me to, in fact. It is a mindfulness and meditation app. So there are different, meditations and things that are included. They have a yearly, I think it's maybe $70 for a year for the subscription.
I believe so.
But they run promos from time to time. Both Jay and I got in on this promo where we got our first year for free. So always worth keeping an eye out for. But one of the things that I use it for is at nighttime, I have a really hard time, getting my brain to calm down. And I immediately start thinking about everything throughout the day. And there is a gratefulness meditation walkthrough that's about 20 minutes long that's narrated by this guy who, oh my God.
That's a lovely voice.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
His voice is just fucking silk. Good Lord.
I'll be honest. I've never really done that much meditation or all that stuff before bed. That guy's voice, smooth as butter. And you were just laying there,
awesome.
and he's like, "Let your arms relax."
And they do.
This, and I would probably go as far to say 95, if not higher, % of the time, I will fall asleep right before the meditation's done.
I'm good about falling asleep after. I can't keep something in my ears when I go to sleep. So
Mine's playing out loud because usually I'm in bed alone. So,
yeah,
I usually play it during the weekday.
Yeah, I don't subject Joe to that while I'm laying there. So,
but it's worth it.
It's a really cool app, and especially compared to the pricing for a lot of mindfulness and meditation apps, $70 for a year is really not bad.
I also appreciate the fact that you can tell it your mood every day and be like, oh, I'm kind of in a sad mood. And so it's all based off of your mood, what you post that day. And they'll be from 5 to 20 minutes. Love it. I think the other things I appreciate is it also does kind of an 8 to 10 hour white noise thing, and you can let it play thunderstorm, you can let it play rain shower, ocean waves, stuff like that, and you can let it play all night. I did that. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty nice too.
That's cool.
Ooh, that might be worth checking out with a speaker near the bed, Anthony.
But anyways, it's an app called Balance, and you should absolutely check it out.
Well, great. Thank you, Anthony. That's a really good one.
So I've got the game for us this week, and it is Smash or Pass Phone Edition. Well, it's been a while since we've done a classic Smash or Pass, and so
yes,
I have a list of 15 things that are phone-related, and we are going to choose whether to smash or pass on them. So let me know, are you guys ready?
Ready.
Number 1, BlackBerry Pearl.
Pass.
Smash.
Ooh. Why pass, Joe? Because I'm going to smash too.
Because my mom had one, and it was a constant battle of her asking me how to use it and me not knowing how to use it. And she hated it after a while.
Okay.
She had the Pearl, Dad had the Curve, and it was like a love-hate relationship with those things.
I didn't even have one. I was just jealous of everyone that had one.
I like the Curve better than I like the Pearl. The Pearl was kind of it was good.
It had that weird keyboard where it was like 2 letters on each. It was weird.
It was designed to be smaller, so they put bigger keys, but they put 2 letters on each one. It was like
T12
texting.
Yeah, literally.
So number 2, iMessage.
Smash.
I'll smash it. Yeah.
Yeah, smash the hell out of it.
I appreciate how smart it is. It's good.
It works better. I mean, SMS works good, but MMS works really good. Picture sending, it's so much faster.
But iMessage? iMessage is just, I don't know. It's half the reason I keep an iPhone, because
that's exactly it.
Texting with other devices.
If you're a green bubble, I hate you. No, I'm kidding.
Some of those Google phones look really cool, though, I will say. I've looked into them a couple times.
It's I joined the cult, people. Let's just do it. Come on.
I was like, there's a lot of non-cool iPhones out there, but I'm so used to how it works now that I don't think I could change it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially now that all my Mac devices connect.
I wish Apple had like a monthly subscription for iMessage for non-iPhone users that they could like use the platform.
I'm surprised they don't.
I will pay your $1.99 subscription a month so I can text you better.
Yeah. Fellas, is it gay to crowdsource your texting?
Okay, number 3, Motorola StarTAC. This is that first Motorola flip.
Pass.
Oh, pass.
It was before my time.
It was hideous. It didn't even have that big
was
screen on
so-
top.
Right.
Yep. I would have smashed it at the time because I thought it was cool, but
Yeah, well,
guys
you
just,
smash anything.
well, that's not necessarily true. But let's go further on before we figure
You're
that out.
not passing it because it's just so far up your ass right now. You just like have to be nice about it.
I put it up there when I was 16 and it hasn't come out.
Oh, Lord.
Anyways, number 4, group texts. Ooh, I knew this was going to be a dicey one.
Smash asterisk, because I can recommend group chats in general, but what I wouldn't recommend is the group chat that I'm in with Jay and Anthony. I will say, if you want to have a good time with that phone up your ass like Anthony does, get in the group chat with Jay and Anthony because you will be buzzing all the way to orgasm.
So I will say
Skull
group
emoji.
Group chat if I'm ready to be in the conversation. Absolutely hate it if I'm like not focused on it, don't want to be in one at the moment, or if somebody's like doing one to have a conversation about plans. I fucking hate those group chats.
I'm a pass on group text, which is funny considering how much Jay and I text, but it's more like Jay and I texting each other and you just happen to be there.
Yeah. But to that effect, I will say group chats with gays are a lot more fun than group chats with heterosexuals.
Not except you, Matt and Caitlin. You guys are fine.
Yeah, I was like, I love their group chats.
I was like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good group chat. I was, what?
I mean, of course, them.
I look
I
forward
hate
to
being
their group
randomly
chats.
added to group chats where people are like, I'm just like, why did you put me in this?
Yeah.
You'll immediately see me. Jay has removed himself from the conversation if I have no interest in that. I'm just like, no, fuck you all.
Okay, number 5, meditation apps.
Well, I don't know because I haven't used Balance yet, but I'd probably say Smash.
I would have been a pass a long time ago, but this Balance app made me a smasher. I'll smash the hell out of it.
Smash.
One of the
Smash,
big
smash,
things
smash.
that we harp on a lot on this podcast is mental health, and anything that can help you with that is definitely a smash in my book.
Do your self-care. Love it.
Yep.
Take care of yourself. I need
Healthy
to get back to
self-care.
doing it better.
Number 6, the Nokia 5110.
Woohoo,
That
baby.
Nokia.
Smash, smash, smash. That was
Man,
my
that phone could
first
go through
one.
anything.
Yep. Literally, it could go through anything.
Yeah, you
A
can't smash
dinosaur,
it.
whatever.
Literally.
Yeah, you can't. You can't smash it.
I want to smash it. It just can't be smashed, but I won't pass it.
I can still
I'm
hear the
also gonna
ringtones.
smash it.
Oh, classic.
Number 7, Grinder.
You know what? I'll say Smash. For how problematic it can be and for the negativity that can sometimes rear its ugly head on there, it really was a catalyst for me as a college student learning those skills to kind of navigate not so much dating, but like sexting for sure, hookups, all that kind of stuff. So I can't blame it for that.
I definitely have a past with it and appreciate what I've learned from it, but
Yes.
I'm passing because I realize that for a person like me who depends on emotional connections in a way, it was not helpful to my mental health. And the moment
Yeah.
I cut off of it, I ended up doing a lot better mentally. So I was like, this is not good for me, and I'm out. So I have to
Fair.
pass.
Fair. Wait for Joe. There we go.
I just don't like feeling like I'm just a tool, even though I get that's what it's for, and I get how most people think. My brain doesn't work that way. I want some sort of emotional connection.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I'm weird.
I'll smash
I
it
know.
for all the same reasons that Joe did. I think it served its purpose in my life.
Right.
Yeah, I learned a lot from it.
Yeah. Number 8, the iPhone 4S.
Oh,
It's my first iPhone.
Smash.
Smash.
I loved asking Siri what you could do with a dead body back then because she would like spit out metal foundries and things like that.
Yeah, that was our first Siri.
I love
Loved it.
playing Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh man, I loved my 4S. It was white. I had like a beautiful case on it with like a blue carbon fiber trim. I loved that phone. It was great.
Yeah. What a
It was the
life.
first phone I ever had on my own as a smartphone.
I had
After
the company
my
approved
breakup.
OtterBox with the belt clip that I would wear.
The belt clip.
Not the OtterBox, the Defender series.
Hello.
The Defender, yeah.
It was definitely the Defender. That's the only one with the belt clip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm sure there's new ones now, but yes, at the time, yes. Number 9, Apple Maps.
Pass.
Pass. Hard
They've had
pass.
trouble for a long time, and they still give me issues when I try to use them.
I don't like the way it looks.
don't
It
either.
pops up and I don't like it.
It's convenient, but out of Waze, Google, and Apple, I think I'm just going to pass it. Do you remember how terrible it was when it first dropped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like unreliable, and all the maps were
God.
so wonky.
It was
Ugh.
terrible.
I've been using Google Maps for so long now.
Just use Google. It's so much easier.
I started trying Waze because apparently they update better for traffic.
My sister
I've-
uses it.
Been getting stuck in weird traffic lately.
Judging
They're
you.
also really good about telling you about cops. But anyways,
Judging you. Number 10, Text Speak.
I'm
Okay.
smashing because it's done a lot of good for me. But I am not loving this smash. Like it's kind of I'm smashing you out of convenience, not because I really want to do you.
It's a
This
pity fuck for Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
It is a pity fuck, and also it is the smash where I don't have a need for an emotional attachment. It is I just need to get this out.
Someone's paying you like $30 for this, and you really want to go to a semi-nice dinner, and you're just
Yeah.
like, you know what? Fuck.
You had an Olive Garden gift card. We talked on the app I shouldn't be on, and I was like, let's go. You know what? I'll share some breadsticks with you.
And
I'll
I'm
bang
thinking
you, and
of-
I'm done.
I'm thinking of a giant fucking meatball the whole time.
I'm going to call you back every fucking time I need to do this, but I just have no interest in you.
I'll say smash because I do like the purpose of it, and it is a very useful purpose because it is meant to take your eyes and keep them on the road where they belong. Because, fun fact, Beardos, when you're traveling 70 miles per hour, you will traverse the entire length of a football field in 3 seconds.
So when I say Text Speak, what are you guys thinking that I'm saying?
Siri in the car.
Is that also what you're thinking, Jay?
So I'm thinking both of Siri in the car, and then just if I'm sitting there and I hit the button and talk to it.
Okay. So we're going to add one extra thing on here.
Okay.
For what that is, I'm going to smash it. What Text Speak is as one word means things like CU, letter CU, like IDK, my BFF Jill. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I'll smash TextSpeak. I don't really care. I can
Okay.
decipher it pretty well.
Yeah. I guess I'll smash that.
I'm smashing it because I like TextSpeak in text, but not when people say it out loud.
Ew, no. Agreed. I have to
See, I'm
read
gonna-
it.
I'm going to pass asterisk. I can handle it in little bits. Like LOL doesn't bother me. LMAO with a bunch of O's, I feel like that's its own thing. But like
Yeah.
if you use the letters C and U instead of typing the words C, U, I'm going to sit there and go,
Yeah.
you got a full keyboard. It's the future.
Just type
you don't
it.
have an excuse. Just type
It's also-
it.
Type that one.
If you spell it wrong, I'm not going to care. But just type it. Don't be lazy.
That is true.
Okay,
There's somebody I know that says FW for what? FWIW.
For what it's
And
worth.
For what
yeah,
it's
and I'm
worth?
always, yeah. And the first time I saw that, I was like, what is it? And I don't like it if I have to Google them.
Yeah. I
If
get
you
that.
make me actually have to go decipher my text on Google, I then stop liking it.
All right. We got 5 of these left. Should be pretty easy. Number
Yay.
11, T-Mobile Sidekick.
Oh, I wanted to smash one so bad when they were popular. I never did have one because you had to have T-Mobile and you had to have a data plan. So that was like 2 things that were not in my wheelhouse then. But man, that phone was fucking cool. I wanted one bad.
I'm going to pass the T-Mobile Sidekick. I lived without it, and I'm fine without it. That's perfectly fine for me.
Okay.
All right. Well, then moving on, number 12, Scruff.
Ooh, smash.
I'm also going to pass. Same situation as Grindr for me.
That's a real smash.
I would choose it over Grindr, though, but I'm going to pass it still.
Number 13, Sniffies.
Passing.
I don't know enough about it, so I'll pass.
A smash. Smash. For sure. I haven't actually used it for what it's for yet. I've just like browsed it casually, but I can see some potential there.
I will once in a blue moon open it just to be like, what's going on in my neck of the woods? Do I recognize that penis?
In my area.
I do want to look at the local penises in my area, but I don't do anything.
Penises in your area.
And then I feel a little bit nervous because I'm like, what if I accidentally click one and I like it? I don't understand how this works. And so I'll get off of it.
All right. Number 14, X, formerly Twitter.
Oh, pass.
I haven't updated the app, so it's still Twitter on my home screen, and it still says Twitter under it. So I don't know if like it keeps working. So I guess I'll say smash for now.
I'm going to pass it because I can go to Pornhub. It's fine.
Yeah.
I smash it because I like the amateur content I can get there.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah, so definite smash for me. And also, I'm somehow able to avoid all the Twitter nonsense for the most part. So,
well, that's because conservatives aren't on the pages I follow.
Right. So this one is very important. This is the last one, and I need you guys to really put some thought into this. Pinterest.
Pass.
Wait, hang on. Pass, but with Jell-O.
You know what? I'm going to smash it because I found some pretty hot recipes on there.
Shut up.
Nom, nom, nom.
God.
And I upvoted those recipes, and I was like, yes.
I should. But anyways, Beardos, I think I hear the music coming back on, and I believe it's a polyphonic ringtone, a version of Lady Gaga's Edge of Glory. But go call our hotline real quick so you can vibrate my butt at 405-999-2242.
Bzz, bzz.
And Beardos, we splurged on the all-time, every-time minutes plan, so we don't have to wait until 9 p.m. for you to leave a voicemail. But it's time for us to go change our polyphonic ringtones as well, so we have to go. If you'd like to go help us out, subscribe to our podcast so you can get frequent reminders every Sunday when we release a new episode. We also post updates on all of our social media sites for any sundries that we add to the market.
And don't forget to rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. Those reviews are what get us found by more listeners like you. Also, if just each one of you could recommend us to a friend, we would double our growth, and we would very much appreciate that.
For an extra $5.99 a month, you can check our socials at 7 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. on weekdays. And then also, for $20 a month, you can message us on our socials unlimited. I'm kidding. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Email us at beardsandsundries@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our website, beardsandsundries.com.
So, from all of us here with screen protectors on all of our phones at the Beards and Sundries Market, make sure to
BRB and love yourself.
Because we already sent a wolf to your dad on Scruff. And already love you.
Ooh.
Bye, Beardo.
Later, Gator with LHR.